Awesome. And Joshua oftentimes operates in higher realms, and so this realm can be very dense for him. And so one thing that he shared with me before is as I do this, it raises the vibration of everyone in this space, and so then he can function because the energy that is here, it helps him function. So, I'm honored to be able to do that. But you know what? My life wasn't always here. So I want to share with you a little bit about my journey, and so because sometimes you know you can see people and you maybe you see them standing in their power and everything. And for me, it was like I always compared my weakness to other people's strengths, and then I thought, oh, who am I? You know, and I felt pretty insignificant. In fact, there were many times I wanted to just exit out of this life because I didn't feel like I had any value to offer the world. And so I really had to tune in and what can I do? What is my contribution that I'm here to make in this world? So, and singing, I didn't know was part of it. Art, I did not know was part of it. And all this stuff. But I was introduced to the I Am Present, to my I Am Presence. I became aware, I should say, of my I Am Presence in 2008. And I started coming to these classes. It was a little different back then, years ago when I started coming to these classes. And these have been my beloved friends and companions, my instructors, my teachers, the beloved Master Jesus the Christ, the Ascended Master St. Germaine, and the I Am Fundamentals Discourses, another of Ascended Master St. Germaine, and the Seven Mighty Elohim. And these have been my guides and my instructors. I grew up very staunch religious. I served in LDS mission, and I started going through my experience, and I started doing yoga, the yoga rites or whatever. And as I was doing that, and I would just ask that my body be infused with light, and then I would just like wanted to just, I don't know why I'm sharing this with you, but apparently that's for a reason. But I just wanted to just rip off my garments, and that was really a real challenge for me because I was so staunch. LES, I was in a box big time. And
I was in the same position.
Yeah. And so getting out of that box was very, very hard for me because I had made commitments and I was not going to back out of my commitments. And as Spirit stretched me and expanded my awareness, and was like, Monica, you're safe to do this. You're safe to move forward. You're safe to step out of this box. They keep telling me it doesn't have to look like what you think it looks like. It's not necessarily how they told you it was going to be. Actually, they never said that, but I learned that afterwards. So stepping outside that box was really hard. But what I had to do that was take everything that was on the shelf, my library in my brain, and go, oh. I literally did that. Like, physically, I'm like, everything is gone. Like, until it confirms itself as truth to me, it does not go back on my shelf. And everything in my life, everything went to the wayside. And I still, well, I went to church for a while after that still. But the only thing that did not go from my life was the I Am discourses and my angels. And I felt like I got direct instruction from them and from these ascended masters in such a beautiful and powerful way. They taught me that I was a powerful creator. And that's why I wrote the book. You know, I wrote the children's book because that was my experience before it was my children's experience. When I connected with that, I taught my children, and that's how they have been able to step up in their lives. And when a child is consciously creating happiness, peace, joy, and they know that they're a powerful creator, there is little micromanaging as a parent that you have to do, and it's so beautiful. I love life as a mother now, but before I just wanted to fire that job. It wasn't something I could do, so I'm like, I better find a way to make it work. So these things are very beautiful to me. But there are times when I get disconnected, as we all do, right? We're on this journey, this roller coaster of life, and we're up here, and then we're down here, and we're up here, and we're down here. And I am no different. I am no exception to that. In fact, this week I had an experience as well. And I feel like the best way that I teach is I share my experiences, and I trust the angels will teach you what you get to learn today. I am not here to preach to you. I am not here to tell you, even give you a tip or a trick or anything. I share my experience, and I trust that you will be open, and the angels will speak to you directly to your heart. And something may resonate. You may hear what I say. You may not hear what I say at all, and that's okay. Because I know that if you're not listening to me, you're listening to them. Okay? So that's totally okay. So just be with whatever experience you are here today to experience. Keep looking back here because I want to share something with you from this. But before I do, I want to share with you my experience this week. Okay? I am on a health and fitness journey. Okay? I was very much heavier than I am now. I just fit into this shirt for the first time today. Thank you. I bought this shirt online and I got it and it never fit because my bust was too big, and I slid it on today. I'm like, oh my gosh, it fits! And I actually specifically bought it to wear it to this class because we would wear white in the St. Germaine class. And so, but I got it and it doesn't fit, but I don't want to get rid of it because it's so cute. And I love it. So my health and fitness journey for about 2 months now, and so I've gotten some amazing results, right? Down 22 pounds, 30 inches overall, 7 inches just off my waist, right? So incredible results, right? But this last week, since Thanksgiving, it kind of threw my routine off a little bit. I didn't engorge on Thanksgiving dinner or anything, but I started introducing foods in that I had cut out, like dairy and meats and breads and stuff, and not that I can't have those things, but it was things I wanted to avoid for the most part because I was going into more of a plant-based raw diet, because that is the lifestyle that I feel like will serve me best. And I started introducing these other things back in, and then feeling like I didn't like how I was feeling. I was noticing, more mucus, phlegm, and some headache at night, sinus pressure, all this stuff, and just being like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to revert back to that old way. I want to have this clean vessel for, to be this clear channel and to raise my vibration even more. So, anyway, so what I noticed with this pattern and why I got to this space is the first of the month, or right around that time when we had guests over and everything, I have what I call my 12 sacred choices, right? And I do those every day. And one of them was my decrees, my connecting with my I am presence and reading my decrees. And I had stopped doing that faithfully every day. And I had been doing it every day since COVID for sure. And I noticed a huge impact on my life. That internal strength is like, let's go, let's do it. And I was like hitting walls and busting through them, hitting walls and busting through them. And nothing was stopping me from achieving my goals. And then all of a sudden, these thought patterns creep in and all this stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? And I go to the gym with my friend. And I just can't, I'm not feeling like I can push it hard or anything. And I'm getting exhausted. And I'm like, you keep going. I'll catch up at my own pace. Go at my own pace today. And we were sitting in the sauna later, and all this emotion started welling up inside of me. And I know that not to stuff emotion. I know to allow it to flow. So I told her what was happening, what was coming up, and so she just held safe space for me to express it. And so as I expressed it, surprisingly, frustration was not the first thing that came out. Gratitude was. Gratitude. So much gratitude for how far I've come, for what I've been able to achieve and accomplish. So much gratitude for my friend for showing up for me and teaching me a new way to live. And work out at the gym. That was not a place I liked to go before. I was like, okay, no. But now this is fine. I got to see it from a different perspective. But speaking of perspective, I had lost my perspective. I was only seeing what was right in front of me, and I forgot why I started doing it in the first place. Some people will say I disconnected with my why, but it was even more than that. I disconnected with my higher power, my internal power. And so, what I love to do, I am a quick mind. I think really quick. Sometimes I speak really quick, but I like efficiency, and I'm a fast-paced individual. Okay, so I cannot sit for 20 minutes and read, or I'll fall asleep. If I slow down, I'm out. But what I can do, there are times I can read a whole chapter, but most of the time it's a paragraph to 2 pages, something like that, so that I am hearing their words and I'm connecting with their energy. And then I will do my decrees, and I'll call forth what I'm asking for, and I'll do work for the planet, for the world, for the nation. And I will ask them to do this, because what I've been told too, what I've been taught from my angels, is that we have amazing power, and the angels are at our beck and call. They're at our command, but they're limited by. No, they're not limited by. What is the word? They are bound by free agency, so they cannot step in and do things unless we ask. There's such a power in asking. So we being in this realm, it is important for us to make that call. Once we make that call to the Ascended Masters, our I Am Presence, then they have the permission and the power to come in and act. And so that's why it was so important for me to connect with that. And then so I would make those calls, say, okay, I need you to do this, continue working while I go on with my day. And that may or may not be the best way to do it, but that's how it works for me. But now I can't, let's see, I had something I wanted to, okay, it was Master Jesus. That was this one. I'm going to read you a couple paragraphs in here, just feel the energy of it. At first, there was a lot of words that I was like, oh, wait a second, that's a lot of words that I may not understand. But it's not that the words aren't understandable, but it's what it is. It's like, it seemed far out there, incomprehensible to my meager mind, right? But it says, more and more, the people are becoming more and more disturbed in the outer. And if you are able to be protected, you must live within. Be surrounded by, connected with, filled with, and controlled by our Ascended Master consciousness, our Ascended Master feeling, our Ascended Master miracle mantle and armor of eternal protection, and our Ascended Master feelings control of physical conditions. How would that be if we had that power, that same power of the Ascended Masters? Did you know that you can call that into your space, into your outer world? And when I say outer world, it's everything outside of yourself, right? When you call our sacred fire feeling of the control of every physical condition in the physical world, you will never have a failure. You can't fail because we can't fail. So if we can remind you of this, we can give it to you. But you must accept it and use it. And more than that, you must become filled with it and become it. That wherever you go, the sun presence of the Ascended Master's control of manifestation moves within and around you. And the destructive forces, no matter where they come from, cannot touch you because they cannot enter into our feeling of love which surrounds you. I have known, I have felt this, at first it was like learning, and I'm like, really, is that possible? But putting it into application, yes, it is possible. We had a gal up here, she was hiding behind there. How many of you feel like you're empaths and you feel other people's stuff? Did you know you could walk through the world and not feel other people's stuff? And there's that beautiful decree I shared with you a while back that is, I am the mighty magic pillar of light, protection about me, surrounded by the blue flame of beloved Jesus Christ, which is surrounded by the violet flame, which is invincible and repels from me any discordant thought or element which seeks to find entrance or intrude itself. I am the perfection of my world, and it is self-sustained. I walk around in that energy all day long, and nobody's energy has the power to get into my energy. And not only that, guess what? I'm a beaming light. I walk around and my energy just feels that violet flame is just cleansing everybody else's aura around me. I can and then what I experience is this beautiful reflection of light in people's smiles and in their actions. And that is what I experience all day long. When I get disconnected, it's like black and white now. It's like black and white, day and night. I notice the difference, and then I'm like, whoop, okay, let's step back in that pillar of light. And so beautiful. I shared with you all a children's book that I created, right? There's a second one too that called Creating Light. It was a story about my daughter. She was afraid of the dark. And when I tuned in, she came to me, she's like, I can't sleep, it's dark, and there's scary things out there and all this stuff. And I just tuned in to my experience because I felt surrounded by dark in much of my life. And when I consulted my guides, I'm like, ugh, I'm tired of this, what can I do about it? And they're like, you're a powerful creator, Monica. And I'm like, well, what can I do? And I be the light. Darkness can't exist in the presence of light, and fear can't exist in the presence of pure love. And I'm like, really? Is that easy? Okay. And I did that pillar of light in the middle of my house, and I just projected it out in the entire property. And I've had psychics look at my property since, and they're like, wow, your property is full of light. You need to do some work on the rest of your neighbors. And like, I do it, but I don't necessarily, I love getting the feedback from other people who have those gifts, and they can see maybe what I can't. But so I did this, and because I did this in my own life, I was able to share this experience. I didn't necessarily tell her the story, but I guided her through finding the light within herself. And by focusing on the love. And I'm like, think about the love that you have for your family, for me, or for your dad, or your siblings, or your dog, or creator, whatever it is. Focus on that love within your heart, and then allow it to expand and turn into this beautiful light. Imagine it like a sun presence, and it just expands and expands and expands, and it fills the whole room with light. And then when she opened up her eyes, the room was light. And all the darkness disappeared, and she came back, and she was so excited to tell me, like, Mom, this happened. and she's been able to overcome a lot of fears since then. Fears of flying on a plane. She went to Haiti with us, and she let the love guide her and be that light in her life. So these are all beautiful ways that I use this I am presence in my life and practicing it daily. It's been a major, major part of my life. There's one other experience. Did I share with this? Some of you may have heard this experience, but I don't think the whole class has. I've shared it with certain individuals. Eventually, I want to make this a children's book too, because all these children's books are true stories. Okay, these are what my children have done. We've learned about the violet flame. Right? The violet flame consumes, if you don't know what the violet flame is, it's a spiritual fire that consumes negative energy and it transmutes it. Transmute is different than transform. Transform is changing over time. Transmute is changing in an instant. So the violet flame, if you visualize a violet flame, you can visualize it surrounding yourself. You can visualize it projecting to other people, situations, situations of the world, a situation in your family. The violet flame just consumes all the negative discord and just leaves the rest, leaves light, okay? So I taught my children a simple phrase. I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires. It was a simple 2-line phrase. I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires. And I will